Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it. Hey, welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It talk show. As you can see, Sharon is not here, and I am Sherelle Higgins, your favorite host. I can say whatever I want to because she's not here. And as you can also see, I have three very special, and I put special in quotes, people with me.
Carry us on.
We are going to have some fun on this show today. We're going to talk about sisterhood. We're going to talk about celebrating each other's successes. And we're going to talk about, how we met and kind of, what we do when we hang out together. So sit back, grab you an adult beverage with spiked with lime. Yes. And get ready for the show. And so since Sharon is not here, I have asked Jennifer to assist me with doing a scripture.
Yep, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting us to the show. Today's scripture is going to come from 1 Corinthians 14.
13 and 4.
Sorry, you just...
Love is patient.
Love is kind.
It is not envy.
And it does not boast.
It is not proud. And so I picked that scripture because love is genuinely how I feel about these ladies sitting up here. To my left, I have Kiani Williams. She is my sister by blood. She is the younger sister of me and Sharon.
Thank God she didn't say baby.
Okay, see, I'm doing better. And we actually had to trick her to come on this show today. So here she is, and she is representing the Bears because, we rock it like that. And to my right, I have Jennifer Dorn. And to Jennifer's right is Marquita Aldridge Woods. And so these ladies, we have a serious sisterhood bond going on. And it's so genuine, it's drama-free, and it's so much fun.
Oh, my gosh.
So, welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Kiki spoke, y'all.
Yes. Go, Kiki.
Yeah. And okay, so we're going to talk about last weekend first.
The first thing I want to say is you pointed out that we have a relationship that is drama-free.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm sure most of you know, females, let's face it, there's drama. And with this group, that's a very real statement, drama-free.
Kiki, hit the mic thing.
No, don't let her influence you, Kiki. Yes. So let's talk about first. Let's kick this off with talking about how we all met. I met Kiki when I was 14.
What happened was,
Are you sure about that?
your mama decided to be grown.
She was being right.
What happened was my mother was crying so hard one day
Oh.
that we thought she had cancer and was gonna die.
Oh my God.
Right? And we were all, as kids, we were teenagers, we were trying to figure out what was really going on with her. And so we all kind of got together and, came up with that she had cancer and she was only going to live for another 6 minutes, the way she was crying and carrying on. And lo and behold, what we found out is she was pregnant with Kiki. And we were like, really?
Don't act like that.
You doing all that over a pregnancy?
Excuse me.
Well, here we are. We got to understand why she was crying so hard. And she passed it on to Kiki, the whole crying thing. So
Why
Kiki,
you telling the people?
that's where you got that from. I just want you to know where you got it from. That's how it happens. You got it honestly. And so to my right again, I have Jennifer Dorn, and Jennifer and I live in the same neighborhood, and we met at probably Bunko's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I probably don't even know how to play that game no more.
I haven't either.
Yeah, that was my attempt to get out into the neighborhood and interact with the people. And then I realized that was probably not a good idea.
No,
But Jennifer
it
and I...
was. It was a good idea.
Oh, no,
We
you
wouldn't
didn't
have
let me
met.
finish.
Okay.
Jennifer and I, we met, we clicked, we connected, and it's been 15 years.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And so, you know, and some people you click with, some people you don't. And you know that right away, usually.
Absolutely.
And speaking of knowing that right away, I met Marquita. Seems like a lifetime ago. It's been, 4 or 5 short years that I met Marquita. But I promise you, it seemed like I've been knowing her all of my life. And I knew that she and I were going to get along when she was my baby sister. Kiki, do you love me? Loan officer. And, of course, Kiki had me heavily involved in that process because she had to make sure that Marquita wasn't telling her anything that wasn't right. And so she had me on the phone with Marquita, and Marquita was like, you the attorney?
Come on,
The
let me
bank.
just break
Taxes.
in right now. Y'all got on the phone straight up South Side and called to check me. So I just had to make sure she wasn't. No, folks, get it right. South Side called to check me. Let's just keep it real. Okay, now back to your story. I'm sorry.
And so from there, it was love at first sight. Love is kind.
I took it in stride. I was like, okay, you the tax accountant, the
Yeah.
preparer,
The attorney.
the attorney.
Counselor.
Now she a stylist. You are all things. I love you.
Yes.
Yes.
Many trades.
I'm a jack of many trades.
Yes.
I have a lot of gifts and talents that the
do.
Lord
You
has
do.
placed upon my life.
Amen.
Yes.
And I am just, living my best life and following his footsteps. Whatever he tell me to do is what I do.
Oh,
If he
okay.
tell me to style Marquita, then that's what I
See, that prayer changes things. I was like, Jesus, who you want me to get to help me with my clothes? Yeah. He was like, Southside. Cool. And it worked. It worked. I am so fortunate and just blessed to have y'all in my life.
And so this is usually what it's like when we all get together in our garage party.
Oh, you're telling all the secrets.
We just sit around and we just laugh. Because laughter is good for the soul.
Amen.
After a hard day at work or a hard week at work, we have a lot of responsibilities. Marquita, Jen, and I, we're all mothers and wives, and Kiki is a mother. It was her weekend. I had a kid this weekend, but she hurried up and threw him over to somebody else. And so, after, we go through all of the different roles that we play, it's good for us to come together as, women who are doing positive things and supporting each other and moving forward in life. We're all in different places in life. Jen's been married longer than I have.
Oh, my God.
You guys have been together longer than we have.
Right. And so, I just celebrated 27 years on Friday. And I tell you, I said to Jim last night that we must have something special because it's, so many people are not staying together and not sticking it out for the tough fight.
That's true.
And, one of the things I realize in talking to people who have arrived at that conclusion is they usually want the other person to change. And, they say they wanted people to accept them the way that they are, but they want the other person to change. And so that's tough. And so until you can really fully just embrace people as they are, you'll come up with all kind of reasons why you can't, put up with it anymore. And so, I find that if you have somebody, and you all could talk about this as well, if you have somebody in your life that you're vibing with and they respect you,
Yes.
the rest of the stuff you got to expect is going to happen. People going to say some things to you that you ain't going to necessarily like. You're going to say some things to your spouse that he doesn't necessarily like. But if that becomes the deal breaker, then there was a deal breaker in place all along.
That's right. There was no true foundation.
You better talk about it. Mhm. But I see how she said, and Kiki on here representing Chicago and didn't even say nothing about my Lions.
There ain't
stuff
nothing to
at
say
all.
about them little
So
raggedy
I'm just
Lions.
gonna bring it right into the forefront of the video then. Bam! Since you being like that, it's okay. You don't have to say nothing. They see it. It's all good.
This is
Don't tell
is
me.
an example of how Americans can be very different
Yes.
and still get along.
I know. I can't believe I even like a Bears fan. I like love two of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm neutral.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Switzerland.
We see.
Yeah.
I just like hanging out with them.
NFL Sunday.
Hey,
Yes.
hey, girls'
So
night.
let's talk about our trip last weekend. So, for those of you all who don't know, Marquita Aldridge Woods is a former basketball player. And last weekend, she was inducted into the Detroit High School Basketball Hall of Fame. And we went to Detroit last weekend to support her
Yes.
and her induction. And so by the time we got to Detroit, we had not only was she being inducted, it was also her birthday.
Oh, it was ours.
And so by the time we got to Detroit, because we drove, me, Kiki, and Jennifer drove, by the time we got there, we had decided that we were all being inducted, and it was all of our birthdays.
And we rode with that the whole weekend.
Yes, we did.
I really appreciate the shout out. You gave us
Yes.
shout out right from the start because you knew.
I knew
Right.
You knew.
that we were all getting inducted.
That's it.
I
Thank
loved
you.
it.
We
It was all
appreciate
good.
that.
It was
Yes.
all good.
Yes, and so here is a program from when Marquita was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if you can see this, but Marquita was the only female who was inducted into this Hall of Fame. So I say kudos to you, Marquita. And
Absolutely.
we are so proud of you. And you know, we're proud to say that, you know, we know you.
Yeah.
And you're part of our inner circle, because one of the things America wants us to believe is that as black people and black women, we can't get along and we can't support each other and we can't be happy for each other's successes.
Absolutely.
And so we just wanted to, you know, bring you on and highlight that and give you an opportunity to tell us a little bit about how you started playing basketball.
Well, first, I just want to say thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole speech over.
Okay, go ahead.
So I want to say thank you to all of my friends, my BFFs, Infinity Friends, Tribe. It's like, no, I had to go through all of these words since we got inducted together, and there was this whole discussion about friends. We can talk about that later. But no, seriously, thank you. I'm actually still very humbled. I'm smiling ear to ear. And I was glad to be inducted, but I was also just, my heart was overjoyed with the love that was showed from, you know, you all that came out and celebrated with me, everybody that came out. But it was just a special day. It definitely was the best birthday that I ever had. I will say that. But far as started playing basketball, you know what? I won a free throw contest in elementary school. They used to come around and they would have like these games, and you needed a boy and a girl to participate in each sport. So I won the free throw contest because there was no other girls shooting the free throws. So how could I not win? You know, 1 for 10, winner. So all of a sudden, so each thing, you know, they had rope climbing, this, and that. So for the basketball, it was no other girls that shot. So I won the little free throw contest. And seriously, it was how many you could make out of 10. And I actually made 9 out of 10. And they were like, hey, you pretty good at this. I was just like, oh, okay, you know, I'm in the 5th grade or whatever. Just let me get the trophy. I won. So, and that actually is kind of where it started. Went to middle school the next year, and I saw it was in the locker room. It was a, what is it called, a flyer? Yeah, a flyer that said if you wanted to try organize basketball, they were looking for females to play. So I started playing at the Police Athletic League. So I had my mother drive me downtown to the tryout, and went out there to try out. And it was this lady named Miss Donahoe who introduced me to Coach Winfield, which you all met at the induction, who was my high school coach, and who I definitely say I would not have done the things I did without his guidance and his coaching and mentorship. So that's really where it started, a free throw contest against myself.
Which you won, thank
Which
goodness.
I won, yes.
So that's an example of don't ever be afraid to challenge yourself.
Right.
Very
Yes.
good.
You're your only competition. That's
Yes,
what that is.
absolutely.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. And so you played throughout middle school?
So I played Detroit PAL through middle school, and I was working out with the high school team, which I went to Martin Luther King. Shout out to the Crusaders. So I traveled from one side of town to the other side of town to be a part of this particular team. They had like a magnet program, but one of the better teams in the city of Detroit. So played through high school. Yeah, yep. Was on varsity my freshman year, which usually start off on JV and
Right.
move up, but coach saw something special in me and he had me on varsity my freshman year. And I mean, that team was awesome. Like the seniors, the players that we had, I mean, you know what? I got inducted, but look, we all got inducted far as the
Right.
legacy of players coming from Martin Luther King. So I was just glad that, it's being recognized. Yeah.
So what do you think, being a basketball player in high school, what do you think that kind of set the foundation for you in terms of how you look at life?
That is an excellent question. Don't be putting me on the spot like this. Man. We was in the car all the way down here. You could have told me that you was about to come on here with your psychoanalyst question. Like, I feel some type of way, but I'm going to respond. Just give me a moment. You'd be like, that's a good question, Sherelle. Why are you thinking about the answer? No, seriously. You know what? I feel like it has laid a foundation for overall success in life because it's all about the fundamentals. We have the shiny object, all these different things, but back to the basics, back to the fundamentals, and being able to execute day in and day out on those fundamentals to help you get to the next level. So it's about practice and it's about being consistent, basically showing up every time. So now I'm not showing up to practice on a basketball court. I'm showing up daily in my life as a mother, as a business person, etc. But just doing the same things over and over again. And I was on a call this morning talking about, are we too sexy for success, right? It's like
I'm
too
not.
sexy. Listen, diva. I'm trying to give my psychoanalyst answers. No, you're not. Okay. Sexy Sherelle says she's not too sexy for
just
success. That's the tongue twister of the day. Say it back. Can we get y'all to type that in the comments, please?
Kiki hit the button.
Yeah, right. No, seriously. I was just saying though that, when we see something that looks pretty or shiny or whatever, then we want to we'll start one way, but then we'll deviate because something else looks like it's better or it's easier or whatever that is. But it's like, to really be successful, you got to hone in, stick to it. And it can be boring. I mean, it could be whatever it is, but it's like the person, he says, practice one swing 1,000 times instead of 1,000 swings as far as golf is concerned. Yeah. Exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy, actually.
Okay, go Lions.
And so, playing basketball then just kind of set up some structure for you.
Yes.
And so back when you were playing basketball, our parents weren't as educated as parents are today about having a talented athlete. And they didn't necessarily have all of the resources that the parents have today to kind of help with managing a talented athlete to ensure that people don't take advantage of them. And so what would you say, like, how did you navigate that? How were you able to navigate that, you and your mom?
That's a good question. The first couple of years, I didn't even know I was talented. Okay, so
Okay, well, caught up.
I knew I was good, but I was telling someone else like about the interview on the Hall of Fame. When you're in it, you're just loving the game. You're just playing, you're not even thinking about, all of the stuff, the people that coming in the background trying to get in your ear, different things. You're just out there playing the sport. But my coach was a huge protector of that. And why I joked to say I didn't even know I was talented. I mean, I had to ride to school with this guy every day, and that means I had to ride home with him every day. And after every game, I don't care if we won by 100, this dude's still telling me, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. I'm like, well, did I do anything right? He basically was like, nope. So next game,
Right.
whatever. So that actually kept me humble on that side of it. But the coach was a huge protector. I mean, I probably was a little bit isolated in that way. Which today, these are how where we are as parents. I have 2 young sons that play sports, and pretty much I am way more involved than my mother could ever imagine to be. Right? Or I imagine that she could have been. She just didn't have the, like you said, the means or the time to be able to do it. So I'm going to be the parent that's going to be that buffer right there in the middle, and not just leaving them out there to the wolves, to the leeches, to the bad crowd or whatever it is. And maybe not the bad crowd, just a different crowd that doesn't suit, where their goals are if they want to keep moving up athletically.
I hear you with that because, as you all know, I have a son who plays sports and my daughter plays sports, and I'm going to be there. More often than not, I'm going to make myself available because, particularly in this day and time, so many coaches and doctors, team doctors, and, all of this stuff, they just taking the left turn with these kids because the parents are not there to protect them. And they're not there as an interference. And so, to me, it's just so important that we, because we have the resources to do it. And, thank goodness we have jobs that we can, schedule our, to make sure that we're available for our kids and their activities. So I can't even, imagine, even back when I was growing up, I was a cheerleader. Surprise, surprise. I was a cheerleader, but my mother was at every game. And because I was a cheerleader, so was my older sister Jackie. So we always had each other, on the cheerleading team. And, a lot of the teachers were students at that school when my mother and my father went there. And so we knew a lot of the teachers, and they knew that my mother and my father was crazy. And so there was no chance of anybody doing anything to us.
Southside?
Right. We got it honestly.
Whole family just special. Like I said, special. Air quotes.
Yes. So let me switch to Jen and Kiki for a minute. So tell me why, people say, society says that we're not supposed to support each other. So tell me why it was important for you to go to Detroit to support Marquita and her induction ceremony.
Well, it's the bond that we've developed. One, it's the bond of sisterhood. It's like you said earlier, it's something that you just don't even, you just know right off the bat whether or not you're going to click with someone or not. And instantly, I remember meeting Marquita many years ago. I can't even remember. I don't keep up with time. We just did, and right off the bat, I knew that we just kind of got along. And of course, we go back, and Kiki, that's just our little sister. But to me, it's the bond of sisterhood. It's the bond of friendship. It's like you choose the people you want to be with. Your family, you don't have that option, but your friends, you do. And what works for me with you guys is, like you said, again, drama free. I don't have to be in fear of being judged. I can be very transparent. I can be who I am. And I know, one, I have your support. I know that, one, you guys will tell me if, Jen, you missed the mark or whatever. We laugh and joke, but we support one another. And it was very important for me to be there because, again, she's like a sister to me. Again, we may not be biological sisters, but you guys, I chose to be with y'all. I mean, I did. Like being here today. No, but honestly, I felt like it was an honor, and I couldn't see it any other way. And besides, what better way to celebrate our birthday?
Right.
Than a girl's trip.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Kiki,
Yes, ma'am.
do you love me?
Oh.
Are you riding?
Just gotta deal with it, Kiki. You just gotta live
Just
with
totally
it.
off beat.
So why was it important for you to go, Kiki?
Well, because Marquita
Good.
told me that I was her little sister.
Oh.
So, therefore, I've gained a lot of sisters over the years because of my older sisters. So, family is very important to me. Very, very important to me. So I just decided to ride along. I found out 2 days earlier, but I decided to ride along, and I had a good time.
Glad you did.
Yeah, even my back still hurt.
She getting old.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go to Detroit.
I never been there.
That's your excuse. You just
I've
wanted
never
to go
been
to
there
Detroit.
before.
See how they do you. See how they do you.
Just
You know
also
what?
point out this real quick. Yes, Marquita was probably was the only female being inducted in this, but she was in company with people like Tommy Hearns and what's the guy from the Green Bay Packer, Gilbert Brown, and you had such great, tremendous people that were being recognized that have gone on to make a huge impact, whether in the sports arena or sports world, whether coaching or athletically, whatever. But I think that in and of itself was just really huge, and I don't know. I mean, for me, it really just kind of like, damn, she really is. No, but I really think that was pretty awesome to see you being recognized along with these greats and being the only female. I think that
I didn't know she was that good.
You know, I
See,
go ahead, Marquita.
no, it's all good, little sis. You got that.
I think that, you know, it's just so important to, you know, be supportive of the people that you say you love and people you say you care about, because, you know, we can come up with a whole lot of excuses why we can't do certain things. Oh, I can't go because I don't have any money, or then next thing you know, the next day you out shopping. You know, so we gotta decide what's important to us and make that a priority. And for me, it was a priority to go to Detroit to, you know, be there for Marquita as she was inducted into this Hall of Fame, because that's a tremendous accomplishment.
Amen. Right.
And, you know, I say kudos to you, Marquita.
Thank you.
Let us know when we get inducted into the state so we can
Yeah,
come to
I'm waiting on that one. Yeah.
All right, I'll let you know when I get that call. That would be cool if I did get the call. You know what? Just to kind of piggyback on something you said, far as, you know, like deciding what's important, right? And you all have come tried and true. So I actually grew up as an only child, y'all. So I had imaginary friends.
Right.
No, wait, hold up
And
now.
Tree.
Y'all I can't believe. See, Shireen and Trina, if y'all watching Facebook, y'all see this right now. Y'all know y'all was there in the mix. We all kicked it, and now they on here acting like that. See, I don't know. These my sisters. See how they do you though?
Oh, we
That's all I'm
sisters
gonna
now,
say.
y'all.
My sisters. No, I'm saying I grew up, you know, an only child. So just me and mom in the household, and really, you know, didn't grasp the thing of sisterhood. I played on teams and different things like that, but not a lot of people that I truly call, you know, friend. You know, very few, circle very small. And being that I'm from Detroit, go Lions. Anyway,
Shameless plug.
they're playing tonight. I'm trying to give some positive vibes. Anyway, I moved out here to the D.C. area, out in Woodbridge, and, you know, I really didn't have a lot of friends.
That's surprising.
Yeah. and that was on purpose, though. You know,
Right.
it wasn't because I couldn't make friends, but really wanted to, you know, just have genuine relationships with real people.
Absolutely.
Right? And I was all about the real. So just my circle, again, very small. And then I called and got checked on that one fateful August afternoon. And I'm so glad you did. Like you said, we just clicked, and you all have been my sisters, you know, my sisters that I never had. And I'm just like being very transparent that I was like, had to learn how to deal with how to have friends. I was like,
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
she used,
like,
to,
wait a
she used to
minute.
tell us she didn't like group text messages.
We ignored her.
just holding me hostage on group chat. I mean, just,
Part of the
just
training.
showing up at the house.
Part
What
of
are you
the training.
doing? Oh, I forgot. We're sisters. Come on in.
We did.
I had to learn how to be a better friend, and I'm thankful.
Yes.
I'm thankful that you guys have come into my life. Part of my maturing process.
Yes. It's so important because, you know, not everybody doesn't have friends. And what true friends, that's right. And when I, tell people, I'm going to Detroit on a girls trip, I was telling Jim this last night. A lot of ladies are like, "Wow, I wish I had friends I could go on the trip with." And and so we can't take it for granted that we have this bond. And that we can travel well, because a lot of people are friends, but they can't travel together,
Where
and
they do that at?
when you start, staying in a room with with each other, and somebody's suitcase is in the middle of the floor
the whole weekend.
you just got to learn to step over it and keep moving.
They be telling too much.
I ain't saying no names.
We didn't say names.
Wow.
And so you just gotta laugh about it, because some people would have been annoyed and ruined the whole trip. And we just had such a great time in Detroit, hanging out. We have a great time hanging out in each other's garages, at each other's houses. We don't see each other every day or every weekend, for that matter, because we all have full lives and full schedules. But when we come together, it's like we never missed a day.
That's the beauty of it.
And it's it just, everything just seems to work out. We rarely kind of plan things beyond let's meet at somebody's house. And then from there it just kind of happens. And then sometimes we laugh all night. And our husbands know we're together, and they're not tripping. They know we not out and about, trying to get into no trouble or trying to encourage somebody to do something they don't have no business doing.
Even when they want to go home, we don't take them.
Yeah, even when some people want to go home, I ain't saying no names.
Always trying to get rescued.
Can you take me home?
That's all I got. That's the only question I have for him is, can you take me home? So now I learned to drive. So when I go out with them, I drive, so that when I get ready to go home, I can go home.
She said, "Wait a minute, I'll be back."
Right.
Like, what happened? Where did she go?
And also, I think the beauty of it is we all live near each other. We're all within 5 or 10 minutes of each other on the same strip of Route 1. And so that makes it a lot better, for when we do hang out, we can, we're not far from home. Yeah. And, sometimes we invite our husbands to come along. Unfortunately, we didn't for the girls' trip. Marquita had to bring her husband because, it just wouldn't been right.
Just by default.
Yeah, her husband and her kids, so
Yeah, gotta. Yeah, the family.
But some of our other husbands asked if they would go.
Yeah. Well, Kevin's going.
Right. He has to.
He had to go.
And so, it's just so cool that, we can just kind of hang out like that. Life is so serious. We take life so serious, and it's so important to just get some downtime and just surround yourself with people who are, where you could just have a good time and just be yourself, and you don't have to be pretentious, or you don't feel like you got to watch your back, or, you got to watch what you say because somebody going to get offended. And this group right here, if you get offended,
you better tough it up.
We'll just laugh at you.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And see, that's the other thing too. Like you said, I mean, like, we can be who we are with each other, and you don't have to worry about this one going behind the back. Because I always use the analogy: if 3 kids can't play well in the sand, well, fortunately, it's 4 of us. But where you have to figure, well, so and so, you hanging out with this one, or you went and took her shopping, or you went and ate dinner with this one, or whatever.
And I wasn't invited.
And I wasn't invited. And you don't have any of that. It's like, we have our own lives, and we do when we can, and we, it is what it is. And we come right back together, like you said, as though we never missed a beat. And that is the beauty of this relationship. Transparency, not feeling like you're being judged, and, just being who we are.
Yeah. Lifetime relationships.
Lifetime.
Yes.
Infinity friends.
Infinity friends.
Inside jokes. I mean, infinity is forever, though.
Right.
Like,
It
okay,
is.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
Right. We in this for the long haul, girls.
That's
I ain't
You
getting
sure
rid of
about
me.
that, Marquita?
I am positive.
Yeah.
I am positive.
She always trying to quit us. But we just keep coming back. We ain't thinking about her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did try to quit them one night. Like,
Just a week ago.
no, I ain't talking about then. I wasn't trying to quit y'all then. I tried to quit them, and them jokers showed up on the porch. I was like, oh, my God.
What?
No, I was like, oh my goodness, we're not breaking up. No, never. I was just kidding.
You know,
Yes.
what's interesting for me is usually as I was growing up in my 20s and my 30s, my 40s, I was always the youngest one in the crowd. And so in this crowd, I'm the oldest one. And so that's really interesting to me because I've never really been in that predicament where I'm the oldest one in the crowd. And so let me just ask you all, since I'm older than you, what wisdom have I imparted on you?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Well, I'll jump right in.
Fashion.
Fashion?
Fashion.
Yeah, she's a diva.
All right.
I give her that. Yeah, you got it going on. That's what's up, sis, for real. So you trying to flex now because you getting to be the oldest. See how she just be carrying
I
it?
slid right into that.
Yeah, she did. Like, because she ain't never get to grow
Go
up.
ahead and answer
This is
that.
the only time I'm going to get these kind of answers from them. So
Reliving your childhood through us. Like, I'm in charge now. Yeah, she used to her other sisters bullying her like she bully us. But it's okay. Yeah.
And we had to deal
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, dealing with it. Yeah, right, Jackie. Now she the oldest. But seriously, you've been a awesome sounding board for me when I'm dealing with my booed up issues. And I appreciate you being an ear and knowing that things that we discuss are going to stay between us, but also that the advice is coming from a sound place of wisdom, but also of love, right? You can
Love
go
is
and talk
patient.
love is kind. Right. And so it's coming from
it is not proud.
a good place. And you could go talk to somebody about things and they really trying to play you, or give you the wrong advice. So I appreciate you for, checking me and telling me when I'm wrong, which it seems to be all the time when I talk to you. It's okay. Yeah, right? I'm like, okay.
She's a lot like Ayanna. What is it?
Fix my life.
Yeah. So I appreciate you being the oldest and having all that wisdom. Yes. And Kevin does too. Just want you
Kevin
to
is
know.
her husband, and I love me some Kevin.
Yeah.
And I told her, don't say it. I texted her one day. I said, don't you let me hear you saying nothing bad about Kevin. I can't tell you what she texted me
I
back.
can't even vent. It's like, I did it. It's me. Now go back home. Bye. No, don't tell. I text back, I love you. That's what I text back. Girl, you know
Jackie
that.
said, keep it real.
Are you serious? That's what you
Yes,
text back? Okay.
yes.
No, I still had a text message.
Right. I mean, you don't know my love language by now. Now we all in this relationship talking about it forever, and you don't know my love language by now. If I text you back that, you know I love you, girl. Golly.
That's that part about you can't be offended.
Exactly. Offended. We are not. Nah, we're not. Suck it up, Buttercup. We're good.
We're just gonna move right on to Jen because
Well, honestly, she is a great sounding board. She's an encourager, and she keeps it real. Period. The end. I mean, don't expect her to just go along to get along. You're going to tell us, if right is right, wrong is wrong, whether you want to hear it or not. You can say, ouch, baby, and keep it moving. That's typically what it is. But the reality is, we share a lot, especially when it comes, we talk about our mates, we talk about different encounters, different relationships, and
kids.
Yeah, just
well, I got
life.
adult kids, but life in general, and
Yeah.
just knowing that, I can come to you, and like you said, Marquita, and that's with each one of you. I have to say that I feel like whatever we discuss is between us, and that's the other beauty about this relationship. You don't have to worry about it going anywhere or one playing the other against the other.
Right.
And I really appreciate that. So thank you, big sis.
Kiki,
Well.
do you love me? Are you riding?
Lord Jesus.
Okay, go ahead.
That's never
At
gonna
least
go
she
away.
didn't say, "Are you driving this time?"
Hey, let them sing it the way they want to, and I can sing it the way I want to.
You
You're
are
right.
definitely not a sugarcoat.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah. She subliminally named her company "Ouch Baby." We caught that. Yeah, that didn't go over our head.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Really?
punch you in the face with this
Throat punch. No,
information.
throat
Right,
punch.
South Side.
All
Yeah.
day.
Then she'd be like, "Y'all ready to go kick it?"
All right, Kiki trying to get off the hook. Come on, Kiki.
It's not working.
So, I'm a lot younger than her.
And your point would be.
But I'm saying that to say that she has given me some great advice, especially about money matters. So by the time I, retire in the next 30 years, I'm gonna be rich. So my big sister's great. So yeah.
I agree. Thank you, girl.
Well, sometimes, not all the times, not all the times.
I know all the time.
No.
Tap it
Like,
out.
for
Tap
real,
it out.
for real. Tap out.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say about the ladies. Kiki is like a daughter to me. Kiki, ever since she's been in this world, has been connected to me in some shape, form, or fashion beyond being sisters. And so I feel like she was the first child that I didn't have to have because I couldn't have had a child at 14 because my mother would have killed me, right?
Right. Yeah.
So she was like the child I didn't have to have, and so I looked to her to be great because she has so many qualities about her that makes her great, and I just want to encourage her to continue to walk in her greatness and know that everything has already been decided about your life,
Right.
and I want to make sure that no matter what, she gonna be okay.
Just like a parent.
Yeah,
would do
exactly.
For their natural child.
Exactly. And with Jen, I love her because Jen, when you ask her for advice, she give you the short version. You really have to start asking yourself. Like we were talking,
Really?
me, her, and Kiki were talking about a situation with somebody moving in with somebody, and Jen was like, "Yeah, we give them. You can let them stay for a month."
She said 2 weeks.
This was somebody that was on hard times. She said a month, and then we was like a month. She was like, "Oh, 2 weeks."
And y'all were thinking a year, and I'm like, whoa, that's long. Okay, 6 months.
But Jen has the biggest heart. She has the biggest heart. She will give you anything she have, and it is to her detriment. And she and I have conversations around that.
That's true.
It is to her detriment because some people just take advantage of you when you have a big heart like Jennifer has. And Marquita is our comedy relief.
We love her. We are going to get paid. We're putting her on stage one day, so stay tuned.
And not only that, but Marquita, she give it to you straight with no chaser too.
Oh, gosh.
It's been a many a day I've called Marquita and I feel I'm up in my feelings about something. And she basically be like, "Suck it up, punk."
Yeah.
And it's so timely because I like laughing. Because that brightens my day, that keeps my life happy, and it keeps my life in perspective. And so whenever I'm feeling some kind of way about something, and I call Marquita, I know she's gonna have me laughing, and it takes me out of that pit that I definitely don't want to be in anyway. And that's not just who I am. Just a sad and let something keep me down kind of person. So. But Marquita is my comedy relief at all times. And she just kind of give it to you straight. And, most people who have personalities like me and Marquita tend to not be able to get along. Mm-hmm. But, we get along just fine, man. And we in this thing to death do us part.
Yes.
Even beyond.
Yes.
And even beyond into eternal life.
Yes.
We like the Mormons. Eternal life.
Yes. So, I was played professional basketball. Got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. But I can't wait till your induction. Terrell, we coming. You the professional partier. Yeah. This party over here ain't nothing over there. You a Hall of Famer too, girl. I can't wait to the induction. Like, we're going to have to make a Hall of Fame for professional kickers. Yes. I love it. Look. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, she party over here. Ain't nothing over there. Always keeping it going. Just a ray of sunshine. So appreciate that about you. Like when I don't even want to kick it, I gotta kick it because here comes Sherelle. Hey, party over here.
Well, look, when we were in Detroit, she was the main one. Let's go. We going home. We get in the bed. I'm always down because I'm 9 o'clock. I'm in the bed. You guys show up, ready to roll. She was all in the bed. Oh. going out.
Sis, it was like
deuces, I'm babysitting.
4 minutes, 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
Y'all ready?
She went from pajamas to face game on. I was like,
Game on.
wow,
Game
yeah.
on,
I'm like,
yes.
blink. She came back, was like, I'm ready. Let's do
Never,
this.
yeah.
Yes. And,
Yeah.
and then had the nerve to be flawless with it. Let me jump out of bed. Talking about we going to kick it. Okay, we looking real crazy.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It's so funny. People always ask me, when do you sleep? And I'm such a sleeper. Like,
Yeah,
I like
she
to
is.
sleep. I like naps, and I try to get all of that stuff in when I can. But I figure like this, I'm going to rest a long time when I die. And, you know, right now I'm living my best life.
There you
And, you know, my best life takes me in different directions. I'm pretty open to doing different things. Some stuff I'll go with you and watch you do it. Like, I'm not skydiving or nothing like that. But I'll go.
Just to kick it. That's what's up. That's what I'm saying. Like, definitely want to, show our support in the good and the bad. Just show your support.
Yeah.
And
But
go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I have to say that I truly do admire both of these ladies on my right and my left, and you guys have been more often than you realize such an influence in my life in one capacity or the other, a mentor, a coach. And I'm not just saying to keep it real. I mean, yeah, it's keeping it real, but so often, and I guess my husband knows this, how much I truly do admire you guys, because you guys are on point, and I just appreciate the induction and the friendship. Although I think I married you too. I was a matchmaker here, I think.
Well,
right?
slow down before
Yeah.
you start talking about Marquita, because when I first asked Marquita to if she wanted to co-host the show with me today, she of course came right back and said yes. And I said, "Well, you think we should invite Jen and Kiki?" She said, "Hold on, we reevaluating our relationship."
Marquita, really?
I feel it's her.
See,
I'm telling
how you gonna just get on here?
Really?
No, Kiki, that's not. It didn't come across like that. Because if you recall, somebody had me banging on the door and you want to let me in. Talking about y'all was reevaluating y'all relationships. If you don't recall, who started
back
the
was broke.
reevaluation? Let's keep it 100. And then of course I typed right back, sure.
She sure did.
Yeah, smiley face heart. Wink.
She's sarcastic.
I did type back, sure.
She did.
Smiley face heart.
Yeah.
And Kiki came kicking and screaming. She was just gonna sit here in the studio, but you see where we have her, because she don't like this kind of stuff. For those who are friends with her on social media, she stay posed up in the camera. So we didn't understand why she couldn't do this part.
Right.
And then we realized she was a silent social media queen.
Selfie. Yes.
That is funny. Wow, it is already 3:47.
Wow.
Time is really, really going by quickly.
Absolutely.
And so let's talk about one of the things I think Jen brought up earlier is having friends outside the circle. We learned about Marquita has some new friends, right?
They are not new.
Okay.
You learned that they really did exist. Okay.
And we often laugh about not wanting to make any new friends. And that we're good with the friends that we have. But, even with this group, we each have other friends that we kind of hang out with. And there have been opportunities where we had to blend our friends. And what's interesting to me is this is all has all been, it blends well. There's not, a situation where somebody's friend, let's say, these made up friends Marquita have, right? When they came around, it wasn't like, she had to, split her time between us and them.
Right.
We just all kind of came together and was kicking it together, and it was a great time.
That's maturity.
And that is maturity.
And it's also, what I'm going to say too, is also the like-mindedness, right? So it's going to be rare that I'm going to have friends that are different than how you all are.
That's true.
As women, as friends, right?
But we have some other friends besides just us.
Yes.
Akila, Mona.
Yes, true indeed.
Yeah, Keela and Mona hang out with us in the garage parties too.
Right.
Okay, I see you with the shout out. Yeah, Kiki.
And Jen, she has a friend. We've been knowing about her for a good while, Diane.
And Lorraine.
And Lorraine. And, when people's other friends, Jen and Marquita went to Virginia State Homecoming with us a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We just they just blended right in. George immediately
Yeah, I
took
love
to
George.
Marquita.
Yes.
Because as George does, he takes to anybody. He has such a big
Love
personality.
George.
George is awesome.
Yeah,
With your
hey,
fine
George.
self.
Is that him? G Green? Is that G Green?
Hey, G
We love
Green.
you, G Green.
Yes, G Green is fine. And so, again, just, everybody just kind of blending together. And Marquita makes a great point with, we're all going to have friends that are like-minded. And so we should not have, situations where people can't just come together and have a good time. Yeah. Jen is known for having cookouts at her house. And so, we all go over there and she has her friends and her family and it's just always just a great time.
It is.
And life is short, man. If we don't stop and have a good time, sometimes, shame on us.
Yep.
Shame on us.
I look forward to those times, though. That's our time to,
Exhale.
to relax,
Yeah.
exhale, to take the mask off. Not that you have on a mask, but I'm just saying to get out of work mode and just be able to
Did she say
be.
Did she say get out of work
Just
mode?
to
They're
exist.
never out of work mode.
Yes,
Did
I
she
did
say
say get out of work mode. Yes.
Okay, so audience, listening audience, let me just tell you, Marquita and Jen, they are never out of work mode.
Never.
Never.
We love our clients.
They do.
We love our clients.
They love their clients and
We
they
don't
love
have good
each other.
government jobs.
And
We
they
love
love to
it
talk
all.
about it with each other, with us in the room, to the point where we just have to stop them. And then they say, okay, we're not going to talk about work no more. And then 5 minutes later, they right back at it.
I know. Then we start pseudo coding, saying we're still talking about it, but in code words.
Love is patient. Love is kind.
Yes.
Yes, gotta be patient.
Got to be patient.
Dealing with y'all, I tell you, it's a bit. Yeah.
And so, Kiki and I, we have a lot of sisters, right? And so when I was growing up, I didn't necessarily have a lot of girlfriends. I have some girlfriends, but not necessarily a lot because I had a lot of sisters and most of our family is female. And so we had a lot of female cousins and a lot of sisters. So, we tend to migrate towards guys and hang out with them and become, platonic friends with guys. And so for me, when I end up having a female friend, it is really just something that happens naturally. It's just something that connection just happens instantly. And so I love to watch the relationship grow over the years because, you're very different. When I met Jen, let me see, I'm 52 now, so I was like 37 when I met Jen. So being in my 30s and then going through my 40s, and now that I'm in my 50s, you just kind of look at life differently, or at least you should. Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
so in my 30s, I didn't even want any friends. I was
remember that
good.
too.
Yeah, I would say it all the time. I didn't want any friends. In my 40s, I understood how important friends were. And in my 50s, I know how important friends are. And I know that not everybody that you call your friend is your friend, and they will be your friend for eternity.
Right.
And so friendship sometimes comes in seasons, and we have to recognize that and know that somebody could have been your friend for a season, but it wasn't meant for them to be your friend forever.
Right.
And so I've learned in my 50s that when that season is over, you have to be okay with it, and you can be okay with it without having the negative feelings,
Yes.
without trying to dog somebody out or tell all of their business and all that craziness.
Yes.
And so friendship is very important to me, just like family is very important to me. And I just love that we have this bond that you all see here. If you can only imagine us sitting around in the garage, then...
No, they can't imagine that.
Right.
Don't imagine that.
No,
Right.
No, just leave it like it is.
Say everything not for everybody. I hear you, Jen.
Hey.
And so we have about 45 more seconds. before we're gonna be logging off. So, you all have any last minute thoughts?
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, thank you, Marquita and Sherelle.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't. I mean, you're welcome. It's not even my show, but you're welcome. No,
Well,
you're
thank you
welcome.
all for coming, and Kiki, thank you for participating.
Yes, I would say yes. I just want to say honestly, I love each and every one of you like a sister.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, look. Right. Yeah.
Marquita, why you all the way over there?
I told you I'm just gonna fall off the stage in a minute. Y'all keep it up. My bad. Yes.
Jen got you.
I was trying to hold her up.
And thank you all for listening in. I'm going to remind you all that we are live every Sunday at 3 o'clock. Sharon or I or both of us will be here. We have different things going on, and so sometimes one of us will be absent, sometimes both of us. Anyway, we thank you all for tuning in, and we hope that you, at the conclusion of this show, that you call your friend and just tell your friend how much you love them. And so we're going to just say thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Sunday.